Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel. My name is John. This video, sorry if it's lagging a little bit. We're going to go from John to Lily. So any questions you have, comments, anything, please post them in the chat. I will see it. It's a live feed, and I'm pointing like as if you can see it. By all means, throw a little bit of shade, whatever you want to do. We'll talk. I'll put it through here as to what I'm doing, the process I'm doing. Yeah, so if you like it, comment, subscribe, click a thumbs up, share if you want to. First things first, brow blocking. Good old-fashioned Elmer's Extra Strength. Now, I've already gone through and I have secured them down, my eyebrows. But I didn't actually fully block them out yet. So I'm just going back over, getting those brows really tacky again. And then I'm going to start blocking them out. And usually with the glue, you go through and you go against the grain and then back with the grain for the direction of the hair growth. You can take the end of a makeup brush, flatten it down, whatever you need to do just to make them as flat as possible. If you have thicker eyebrows, you may have to use something like spirit gum, Prose-Aid, stuff like that. So now that I have tackiness down on my brows from the glue, I'm going to go in and press in with my loose powder that I use to set my entire face. Looks a little foolish, I know, but it's the process we have to go through. I'm just going to take a fluffy brush. Doesn't matter what fluffy brush you have, whether it's a MAC brand or anything like that. Just have it loose there. Now, one thing I like to do, because I have longer hair, I'm actually just going to go and pull it back. We will fix it later when I go and put a wig on. But as of right now, that'll do. So let's get some primer. There are some fantastic primers out there. In this case, I'm just using the Hard Candy Sheer Envy Mattifying Primer. Mattifies and controls oil. So it's this one. Walmart. I'm just rubbing that in because there's lots of product on there. And as you can tell, when you go through, it starts to clean up the eyebrows, that loose powder. I always have a damp cloth beside me. So we're done with that. Now I am a man. Surprise, surprise. In this case, I didn't used to block out the beard or anything like that. I started doing it it's actually worked out quite well. This is just a LA Girl Pro Conceal. This is the red color, I believe. I'm tone colorblind, so I don't see stuff quite well. I'm going to just go in with a basic translucent powder. Jeez, look like a bum. Your best bet, because you're using a lot of loose powder, stuff like that, fallout, put on a grungy old top. Just go from there. Doesn't matter what it is, or just the top you don't really care about. Now that I have dark circles blocked, beard blocking, my eyebrows are blocked out. And you notice I didn't put any of the concealer on my eyebrows. I find that my eyebrows are not as thick, so I don't really need to do that. Others may not find that case. So if you need to, do it. It's just an extra step. I have darker eyes to begin with when I do drag, so it goes up higher. Now I'm just going in with my foundation, which is a natural bronze, which is like this color, if you can notice it. And this is Graftobian makeup. So I use, when I'm in full drag, I sweat a lot. So I'm just going to go in, cover the whole face, and I'm going to start building everything from there. Or for the most part, I'm going to start building from there. Used to do the T-zone, which is up through here. And then, of course, you go in underneath your eyes with lighter stuff. But I've found that building it from your base, like blocking everything out, definitely gives you something to work with. So a blank, like a blank canvas. So I'm just going in See? If you hear anything, it's my animals. Now, a lot of people do their eyes first. I don't. I do my entire face with the foundation, and eyes and lips are the last. Whatever works for you, please do it. And you see how the difference? Now, I'm not going to continue all the way down my neck, only to a certain point. Usually I would go down because I haven't done drag, just like a lot of people haven't in so long, that I haven't shaved my chest. However, I also have another video that is going to be coming out, and it is going to be 11 Dirty Words, the drag edition, done by me as Lily on camera. Now you notice that I've pulled my hair back and I've gone up here, down. Now, the reason why I've done that is because once your hair is all pulled back, if you have long hair, whether you are a bio queen, trans, or whatever the case may be, you'll notice that there's a difference in tone. But once you have big wigs on, you may not, like your hair might be pulled up, so you'll see the two different tones. You want to continue it down and be more concise, especially consistent. I'm going to go in on my forehead. I don't necessarily have to go up as high, but because the wig I have is quite fluffy, because I'm going to show you how to use your hair, old pageant style. So taking a bump, building it from there, as well as the old black hairspray, stuff like that, which you see a lot on, or used to, on Drag Race. So there, first layer is on. We can continue this up here, see, if you feel more comfortable with doing it, up into your hairline, depending on the wig you're going to do. Now I have a high forehead, receding hairline, whatever the case may be. I've actually had this hairline all my life. So now I'm going to go in with same brand, Graftobian. It'll come in little pucks like this, depending on what you're looking for or where you're getting it from. Now I'm going to go in with a fair olive and start building the face. So there's that layer. Now you can tell the difference between the two while I'm sitting in front of the ring light. It starts to lighten up. That's what I'm looking for. But as well as that, I also go in with my deep tan color, which is it's brown. That's what I use for my contour. So then I just go, now I'm using the opposite side, as you can tell. I go in, I get my darker color, and I start mapping out where I want it. See? Now, here's a little bit of a tricky part that I actually see from Roxy Andrews. I used to do the high cheek, come down, and I would cut it from here and go across. However, what we're doing is I'll do it on this side first. See? But we're also going down like this and across. Now the object is to cut down that man jaw, because men typically have a square jaw. So what I'm doing is just sculpting. So when you're looking at me straight on, I don't have that double chin anymore, and it's started to even out. Now, of course, it's looking a little muddy right now, but we can go back in with the other side of the sponge and just start touching it up so it evens it out. See? Now, I can go in with that warm peach, which I was using. And I can define. Okay. Now, what you can do at this point is you can switch around, move your sponge around. And start to marry those colors. See? Now, there's other things that I need to do here. We'll just cover this up because when I use the powder, if you don't want it to get in there, then it can start to wreck everything. What we're going to do, damp cloth usually always on the side. Now I have a ferrous tone and I have white. Ferrous tone wise is almost like that ivory color. And then of course, white is white, depending on the look you're going to do. In this case, because it is the typical look that you see if you follow me on Instagram at LilyDivine84, you do get to see all that wonderful pictures. I'm sorry. And as a single parent, you have to answer your phone, which I do apologize now, but that's just the way the cookie crumbles. So I'm going in with just a regular paintbrush. I got this from the dollar store. It's fine point, as you can see. Now I'm going to go in with my ferrous tone. Doesn't necessarily have to be ferrous tone. It could be white. You can also build from there. So now that I've got the base all down as to where I want the contour and everything to be, same thing with the highlight. In this case, I'm going to start building and changing all along here. So ferrous tone, as I had mentioned, I'm just going in, I'm swirling around, getting it a liberal amount on there. This is the part where you might want to pay attention if you're an older individual that wants to get into drag, or you find you have more wrinkles than anybody else. This part is going to help you along. So what I like to do, say ferrous tone, I'm just going to go in, and you see where I have these lines here. It's natural. It happens. I am not exactly a spring chicken anymore. I go in and I lighten it up. Now you might ask, oh, why are you lightening it up? Because it's just going to stand out. Well, no, when you're in the not necessarily the camera, but when somebody takes a picture, that brightens up. So those are indents in your skin, so it will actually show a shadow. Same thing with up above the eyes, it will start showing all that stuff. So when you're on stage and you have this coming out, it starts to pop. Now, same thing underneath the eyes. I'm going to go in, do the same thing again. Now, I'm not too worried about my hooded eyes, because once I start putting the makeup on, you don't notice it to begin with. So anywhere there was bags under my eyes that I had to color correct before, I'm just going to go in and touch it up with this Ferris tone to lighten it. Now I usually go up just a little bit into the eye. So see, we've got that portion. Now I'm going to go in. I'm just going to start lightening it up and blending it out. Now you can do this with white as well. That works just as good. So you see it's lightened it up. Now, in this aspect, it looks lighter here, like through here. But the other side to that coin is that I am going in with the white to lighten it even more. But I also have to do down my nose. So this time I'm changing it up just a little bit. I'm actually building that T-zone that I normally do. So along here, I want to make it look like I've had work done. So you want the cheeks to pop out. So what I'm doing in this aspect is I'm actually going down. I'm going to build it out from here. Now, if you do any impersonations as well, these are some good steps by building up the makeup to create that look. In my case, I do Bette Midler, which I'm not the best, but I'm not the worst. But everybody can learn, right? So that's what we're doing there. We'll just bring it down here because we're going to lighten the nose. At this time, I usually go in and I do right along here. So I do a little up, down, or upside down triangle at the bottom, which I find kind of points my nose. And this is where you can go in and lighten up that brow bone. So see, it's starting to come together. So there's that portion. Now you can go in and define it, obviously. Make it how you want it. But at this point, I'm actually done with this. Now I can go in and lighten up a little bit more along here. Sure. Why not? All right. And it also helps cover up any scars you might have. If you see in some of my pictures on Instagram and that, you might notice that I have a little bit of a scar right here, as well as I used to have an eyebrow ring back when I was younger and thought I was cool. Then I became a drag queen. Then I realized eyebrow rings were not that cool. Usually you can create a little bit of a shadow here. In my case, I'm just going to go and use the leftover product on there. And I'm going to lighten this up. Just a little bit. I'm done with that. Now, just the Posa flat angled brush. Like I said before, you don't have to spend a ton of money to look good on stage, especially for makeup brushes. It's a lot, and drag is a lot to get into. This is dollar store. It works fantastic. Same thing with women. Women, doesn't matter if you're a trans woman or a biological woman, go to the dollar store, grab a few things. It don't make a difference. So here, I'm going up underneath my nose. What I've done is I've darkened up under here. And I've defined that tip on the nose. So it just gives it that look that my nose is up a little bit. Gonna go in same brush, flat side. And now I don't draw straight down. Normally, I usually go in and flick it out because then I can define and control what I'm doing to my nose. Now, I don't go in with a lot either to define it. It may look like it, but I'm not actually going all the way down because you're going to blend that out. A lot of people use their fingers. Fantastic. Sometimes I'll go in with the back end, just the pointed end, or even with this again, and I'll just kind of curl it over and start buffing it out. So let's finish this nose here. You might have noticed I've gone up quite high here because I'm going to change the bridge of that nose, like right there, because I have a large forehead. We're going to go ahead and soften it. Now that I have the white here, it is going to, as soon as I start blending it out, it's going to give me more of a feminine feature. And it's the same thing with my nose. As soon as I start blending it out, it's going to give me that more feminine look. Now, you can go in, if need be, give that end a little bit more of a define. So it almost looks like two racing stripes going up your nose. A lot of people don't have to do it. You don't need to do it to go in and define where you want that crease to be. I like to do it because then I have that guide. So I'm actually just going to go in and I'm carrying it up. Just like this. So see, it's starting to change the dynamic. Now, let's go in and start buffing it out. So actually, I'll go in with this sponge first. And I'll use this end of it. And what I'm going to do is just kind of start to buff those ends in. Now I can still go in and do more cream here to darken it up because I'm going to lighten everything up again. This is the time to do it if you're going to, in my experience, especially with this product. This product, yeah, it's made for film, just like Krylon is. And it gives you that more natural look. And I say natural. But you can actually buy their HD palette. Because it is a cosmetic line, actually. So you see how it's starting to... Now I bring mine right up because I can always go in and change it. Now, the nose, flipping it over. So see, I'm just leaving it a little bit darker. There we go. See? So it's softened out quite a bit. Now, at this point, if I want to lighten along here because it does have that darker look, that's not a problem. Still have the product on here. Now I can go in. See, it's starting to cut out. What I'm going to do this time is I'm actually just going to go in with the other brush, or the other sponge. See, it's lightened up along the sides. So when you're taking a picture in your back, it's going to flush out. So it's going to make your nose look snatched, as they say. So now, same brush. I'm actually going to go, or brush, sponge. I'm just going to go in, up and along where I've highlighted. So it's changing it. It's changing it all up. Now, because you still have the product on here, you can go in and kind of define that just a little bit. So I've got that portion done. Looks like a lot, and it is, but it will work out. It will work out. So see, it's starting to flatten it all out. We're going to go in with the same sponge and just extend it out. Now that I have that done, I can go in with the powder because I'm not actually going to do anymore. Now in this case, what I do is through the areas that I had highlighted the most, I actually go in with my translucent and I set it. So eyelids, down the nose, forehead. Highlight. Now I go in with two different tones. In this case, the same product, Graftobian. This is a skin tone light. In other words, warm peach. And I just set everything else around what I've already done. And it's all right if you go over your nose, like where the highlight is with the peach color. And I go up underneath. At this point, I can go in because I've done all that, and I'm just going to pat everything down. Done. Now that we have that done, we're just going to go in. In this case, it's just a Wet n Wild pressed powder. And the reason why I'm telling you what I'm using is because anybody, it doesn't matter who you are, if you have the time and the patience, and this is something you want to do or dabble in or whatever the case may be, you can go ahead and buy this stuff. It doesn't have to be MAC. It doesn't have to be Sephora stuff, anything like that. And you can just work with it. And that's why I say, as you can tell, I was just blowing there. There's a lot of fallout. So sometimes I rub it in. In this case, with this brush that I got from the dollar store, I actually go and pack it on. Like so. See? I don't like to necessarily go like this here in with it. Now, if I do, it's because I'm buffing it in. Depending on your makeup and the brand you use or whatever the case may be, the brushes, especially if they're coarse, whatever the case may be, they can start to move that foundation around. And that is something you don't want. You see it on Nikki tutorials, all that stuff. You don't want to move that foundation. You want it to stay in place, and a good setting powder will help do that. See, I've started to bring it in. I'm going up and behind. Now, once I get down to here, then I'll start to kind of get that buffing motion to go down. Now, I don't have a very pronounced Adam's apple, but it's there. So I just start bringing it down little by little. Now here, it's going to be the fun part. Because you see how it's, you still kind of see that line. So that's what I'm doing is I'm going in. You can probably hear my other dog. See how it's starting to change everything. Don't worry about all this, like when it's darker, because you can always go in with your powders and change that. So now, because I've got that done, going in with a contour brush, or what I use for a contour brush at least, I'm going to darken this outer side up. I can go up here as well and just use that to define some of the outer edges to darken it. Not that we need to do that, but sometimes you have to. Now, same thing again. Dollar store brush. It's just a big, fluffy brush. I'm just going in and defining in to the edge of the nose. And going from there. So, that portion is done. Now, I will be back. I do have to go and take care of the dog. Unfortunately, he's not going to stop whining, so I will be right back. Thank you.